Yes, people, welcome back to another Arsenal tactical analysis. Today, we've got match week 2, Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1, brought to you as always with our co-host, the Stats Optic. How you doing, Remy?
I'm good. Back again for another week.
Back to analyze another game.
Season's getting feisty already, 2 weeks in.
It is indeed. And this game had a bit of everything. Of course, we have to analyze Arsenal with 11 men and 10 men as well. Different situations that went on. Let's get straight into analysis. So, talk us through what's happening here. So, this is, of course, when Arsenal still had 11 men on the pitch. And as you say in build-up, Arsenal operated at a 3-2-5 to counter Palace. Now, this is different to what you were saying against Forest. So, how was the approach different here?
I think it depends on the press and the type of team. We're playing away from home. So, our setup is obviously going to be different. Teams are going to come at us more. So, we needed to be defensively more sound. We saw that last week. We played a 3-1-6. And now we're looking at a 3-2-5. So, we need that more defensive cover, which is probably why we started Tomiyasu as well on top of it. How that went was another question. But yeah, we needed to be more sound in the defensive transition if we wanted to go forward a bit more. So we could see the 3-2-5, and what I saw really quite well, and it was done as well in the home game, was the party inverted, and that's been done again. Yeah. So him and Odegaard see interchanging, switching. So you see in this situation, you see Odegaard taking up the right flank where Partey would have been in just a standard, low block. But in build up, Partey's come in, switched over, creates more space, and you can still see that they are really close together, to create some chances to get out the block.
Yeah, 100%. And there was even times, right, because there was so much interchanging where Ben White was actually flanking and overlapping Saka as well. Yeah. And I believe Partey was even dropping into that position. Yeah. So it's just so much, and Rice as well. So it was just so much interchanging going on. It's really interesting. Okay, let's get into the next slide here. So this is a Palace setup then.
Yeah.
So low block, what we basically expect against all these teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, last week it was a 5-4-1, and now we're seeing the 4-4-2. I mean, the 4-4-2 is really the best way it works is you're sitting in a low block, and that 4 that sits in front of the defense creates, narrow spaces, not letting Odegaard, not letting Nketiah really try to come in between the lines, not enough space for them to work, which I think Palace did quite well in the first half. But I think with time, we'll see that Arsenal will just start to unlock these defenses, like with fluidity, with a bit more, 90-minute experience. I think I don't see these as being issues away from home anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that really impressed me as well is there was a lot of pre-match talk about Eze and the role he had against Sheffield United last week for Palace. I felt like we basically kept Eze non-existent because how the low block works is, right, it was Eze up top with Edouard. They just wanted to spring counter-attack straight away, get Eze on the ball and supply from there. They were getting some chance in the first half of the counter, but it wasn't really Eze that was doing much. I think we kept him very quiet. So that was very much well played from Arteta in transition, definitely.
Yeah. I think even when we went down to 10 men, I felt like they didn't really take us to the limits too far. I think we managed to control the game quite well when we were with 10 men. But yeah, I think again, Eze's role was quite nullified. I think any counter-attack opportunity that Palace had, even when Saliba made the last-ditch tackle on Ayew, that was still pretty controlled. I think we still had a pretty controlled, game in the first half.
You're right, yeah. Because even last year, the first game we played, I know we won 2-0 and it was convincing, but in that first half, I still remember Palace having some good chances, one-on-ones.
Yeah.
This game, I don't remember them really having like a gilt-edged chance where I'm like, how'd they miss? Apart from the header, but even that was a bit of like a tough one when he got flicked in there. Obviously, he headed it well wide. I think it was it Ayew that did it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
That was the only chance where I'm sitting there going, you should have done better there.
No, it's true, yeah. I think we've become more of a sturdy team.
Yeah, definitely. So in build-up, to beat the press, there was interchanging positions to create spaces to receive the ball. So talk us through what's happening here. So right now, I believe it's Ben White on the ball, right?
Yep, exactly. And I think when Palace started to press us when we were playing out the back, the way that we were able to get out the press was to use the spaces that they had. Any time that the slightest moment that you'd see a player move or his body change, Ben White would play a pass and the man would be free. So he held the ball really well till the man comes, till the man presses him at the last moment. Rice and Odegaard attacking the space in between, the front two that were pressing us. And yeah, we got out the situation really comfortably. I think Declan Rice as well commanded the ball. I think he had the most touches in our own half coming out. So
was
I think
immense.
he had great presence. He wasn't phased by any pressing or any, lack of space to operate in.
100%. And this was minute 1 of the match as well. So this is
Yeah,
straight off the bat.
very close in. Yeah, I was literally watching the game back, and I was just like, wait, most of the first half was literally all we needed to see to show how good we were in build up.
I guess that's probably another reason why Gabriel hasn't been in this starting 11, because I think Arteta wants to add a new dimension to Arsenal. Now, I've been calling for Gabriel to start personally, just because I think of the assurance he gives us, especially away at Selhurst Park. I think it would have been the better option. Now, we won the game, so I'm not going to say that it was a bad choice whatsoever starting Tomiyasu, but that's neither here nor there. But one thing that Ben White, Saliba have that Gabriel doesn't necessarily have is they don't panic on the ball as much. Gabriel messes up sometimes on the ball. I remember against Fulham last season at home, got his feet dangled, and then obviously Mitrovic came, stole it off and got a goal from there. I feel like Ben White and Saliba, no matter if you've got 3 men pressing him or he's got open space, they'll still be calm.
I think that's the key. If you want to play a system like this, you're going to need to have players that are press resistant, that are comfortable on the ball, able to take the man on, not phased by any pressure or any crowd screaming and shouting, like all of these psychological effects. I think we need comfortable players. But onto Gabriel, actually, I feel like Tomiyasu's role was a bit more attacking. So I think we'll see Zinchenko come back in and slot back in. So his role is not really suited to the system that we're playing in a weird way, because he's not really a central centre back, nor is he a right centre back. And in the left centre back role, we see Tomiyasu coming forward and bombing forward on to play with Martinelli. So unless he's able to add that to his game, which is why we saw Timber there so often, it's going to be quite tough unless Arteta changes the system a bit.
Yeah. I mean, he could revert back to the team that obviously did so well last season with Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, then Ramsdale/Raya in goal. I would have no qualms with that whatsoever.
Yeah. I think we'll end up seeing that back end of the season. I'm starting to see quite similarities to what Pep did last season, and not tinker too much at the start of the season. Obviously play around with it, but not like become, we burnt out. We got to December, January last season and the team burnt out based on just how quick and how out the blocks we were in August to December. But I think we'll start to see that we'll probably towards the back end of the season, we'll start to see more fluidity, like a Pep side. And I think that's when Gabriel's role will be quite key.
Interesting. Okay, so this is Kai Havertz. Now, a lot of people on Twitter were saying that Kai Havertz wasn't having a good game. Now, I'm not Kai Havertz's biggest fan, but I don't think he was awful today whatsoever.
No.
Or I thought he actually had a decent
He
match.
had a great game. Yeah, he made the most hold-up plays, most presses in the game. What that means to you, you can interpret it. He covered the most total distance. I think it was 23 kilometers of running out of more than any other Arsenal player. I think his role off the ball will be much more important than on the ball. Even though we need to start seeing some output, players don't see the ball for 90% of the game. And when they are on the ball, you need to be effective. And I think if Martinelli slots this away on a more natural, instinctive, like taking it on his left foot and just slotting it in, I think also then people will start to sing the praises of Havertz, because what he did right here in this situation was really well. Timed the press, he won the header for Nketiah to then bring it down, interchange, slotted in Martinelli in. I think he had great moments in the game that were, I think Arsenal fans, when they start to see it.
I agree.
Yeah,
like
my favorite.
Goals is one thing, right? Because you score, you don't score. But assists is something completely different.
Yeah.
For example, there was even this here, Marseille could score this and Havertz scores a goal, and we don't have all this 007 Twitter nerd thing going on. Equally, later on in the half, Declan Rice slots in Eddie Nketiah. He should score. He loops it over the bar. Then Rice gets an assist, and all this talk pre-match on Monday Night Football about him not getting enough goals and assists in that sense.
It's very reactive. It's really reactive. That's what I call reactive, like watching. You watch the game without context. When you start to see it with context, and you start to look back at moments and phases. When these moments start clicking in later on into the season, when Havertz is up to pace with the team, when Declan Rice is, I think he's already slotted in quite well. Then what? Then it makes him look a bit premature for saying those moments are reactionary, but
they'll grow. It's only game 2. Both these players. Rice was amazing, as everyone said. I think everyone appreciate that, and Havertz will grow as well. I've seen good signs from him for sure. Okay, so Eddie Nketiah as well, because Eddie Nketiah is someone that he won the penalty, of course, but I think especially in that first half, he highlighted. You could say the stark and I guess harsh reality about it, that Man City have Haaland. When against Burnley, they weren't playing their greatest, and you could say Burnley had some good chances, but Haaland had 2 chances and was clinical. Eddie Nketiah equally had 2 chances. The first one, unlucky, off the post is one of those things. It was a brilliant turn. The second one, for me, he has to dispatch.
He has to slow. I think he's become quite a divided player within the Arsenal fan base. You have some people that sing his praises and some people that don't. They want someone as clinical, like you said, as Haaland. I think he's starting to offer what Jesus offers, but I think he's more clinical than Jesus. And at some point it will kick in, because we saw that last season. He came when Jesus was injured, and I think he scored 5 goals in like 5 appearances, if I'm not wrong. But he came and he showed us what he was capable of. And I think today, when the game happened, he started to offer more in build-up than the first game. And I take this example here because I thought this was like an example of what he did quite well. And he came and snuck in essentially behind the midfielders, behind Decore, behind, Eze, all of these midfielders that are trying to stay compact with the last line and stay close. He came in, got the ball off Ben White, and then played it out to Saka, and it led to a chance that wasn't slotted away eventually. But him being able to just take the ball comfortably in those situations is going to be key. He had 7 touches in the game, which was more than any Crystal Palace player in our box. So I think it's starting to piece together. Whether it becomes clinical, I think we need to have another conversation about that.
That's my problem as well, because Eddie Nketiah does score goals. I have no mistake about it. And I also do believe that his best attribute is the fact he's a goal scorer, whereas I think Jesus is link-up play, right? But I do think goals in big moments, I think he still lacks it. Away from home against Crystal Palace, that's a big moment. I still remember against Man City at home last season, in the first half especially, this man had 2 good chances, like the header especially, where Haaland dispatches that and it's a different game. Those are the fine moments. Do you get what I mean?
100%.
And you just need a clinical man.
Edge. Yeah, it's a clinical edge. And I think if we want to become a title team or a Champions League winning team, we're going to need to have that from him, that cutting edge.
I think next summer is when we sign him.
I think even next January. I think there's one man in January that I've been singing his praises since 2021.
Ivan the Great, man.
Oh, but that's another combo.
There's a whole nother conversation. Okay, so man the match, or player of the match, as they say nowadays. Declan Rice.
Yep.
Can't argue this one, right?
I think when I was looking at players, and I wanted to feel different to what Sky Sports were doing, but then I thought to myself, no, he earned it for the right reasons. I mean, he was first in expected assists amongst all our team with 0.23 chances. He could have, and that was primarily the big chance that came was the Nketiah chance in the first half. He had the most passes completed in the final third in both teams, 18, which is, when you think about it from a DM, someone whose average position was basically on the halfway line in the game is quite impressive. He was able to go forward, able to come back. He had like 90% pass accuracy. He was 8 touches in our final third as well. So he could demonstrate that he can pick the ball up from the defense, from Saliba, from White, from Tomiyasu, but he can also go forward and link the play to Nketiah, to Saka, to Martinelli, which is so key to have someone with that stamina, to that drive to come forward. Yeah, it was great. He won like 3 duels on the pitch, and I think he put in a great shift.
Yeah, you're 100% right, because this performance here today, right? When the game happened on Monday, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a performance where you sat there and going, yeah, that man's 100% man the match. He was like the silent assassin. He just did everything right.
Correct. Yeah.
Everything. He would just clean up everything. He would progress the balls, you said, picking up from defenders and running forward with it. That was an £100 million performance without the goals and assists.
Yep.
It's that type of player. So he was fantastic. I 100% agree there.
Great. But
and I did some more about Declan Rice,
Yeah, this was from Sky. I don't know if you were watching after the game, but on the Monday night coverage, they showed a bit of stats. And I thought this was great. I think it, first of all, summarised what Arteta has been doing with the 3-2-5 in the build-up. You can slightly see it in the average positions, and you can see where Rice was. That's why I was so surprised when I saw the stats that came out after the game, and I saw that Declan Rice, in his average position, was able to influence the game so much from where he was. I think in a game where everyone was clinical up front, we'd see 3 or 4 goals, and I definitely would see him with a couple assists as well. But even the passing ranges, you can see how vertical he is. I think that's what's when you want to tap into the final third, you want to make those passes that are vertical to create those one-on-one situations, and that's what he was offering for us. And yeah, the final touch, and the touch is taken as well. You can see even in the heat map,
right in the center of the park.
Right in the center of the park,
100%
influencing
right.
the play, and on both sides as well, both flanks with Martin and with Saka. So, what, £100 million bargain? I think that's the first time we could say that.
Yeah, well, out of all these diagrams, the one that really impressed me the most is the one on the far left, average position, right in the center of that pitch. He is average position, right smack bang in the middle. And we talk about how the midfield battle is so important in football matches, and rightfully so. When you've got a midfielder that's right there in the middle of the pitch, he's not abandoning his duties and drifting out to left too often, drifting out to right too often. His average position is right there in the center. You know you're going to win that midfield battle more often than not. And I think we did that perfectly. We were picking up all the loose change in there and recycling possession, and our relentless attacks eventually led to a goal. And look, in my opinion, if we don't get a man sent off, we could have won that game 2-3-0.
Oh, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, and I think even in transition in the counter attacks, him being in the center is key. He's able to close the spaces in between the gaps between the people that are going forward, like Havertz or Odegaard. He's able to cover their spaces too. So, yeah, great performance.
Brilliant performance. William Sleeve as well. Yeah, I agree. He had a very underrated game, especially that challenge as well was fantastic.
I think commanding. I think what I said last week was you can start to see he's taken that heavy duty role on himself to be that man in our defense. With Gabriel not starting, he came and I think he influenced the game so well. Carries the ball well, composed. He was able to tackle well, able to create blocks so many times that IU or many others would shoot, and he would just be there to create the block before even Ramsdale could even get there. So, yeah, I think he had a great game.
Fantastic as well, man. William Sleeve just grows and grows, in my opinion. And also the subs, yeah, I agree with this one, especially Jorginho. When I made a big point of the Jorginho sub my live stream saying, I was calling from as soon as we went down 10 men, bring Jorginho on.
Yep, I remember.
He brings that like calming figure just to, like, he's like the general that just orchestrates where everyone should be. And as soon as he came on the pitch, and Zinchenko as well, to be fair, you felt we had a bit more assertiveness over the game because there was a period where I don't think we were ever under the cosh to the point where it looked like we were hanging on for dear life. But there was a period for a good 15 minutes where it was Palace. I think Sky Sports showed a graphic where it was 80% possession or something.
Yeah, at some point, it was, it was like the mid stage, like 50th or 60th onwards. But I think Arteta did well. I think he decided, okay, we're in the 80th minute. We want to see this game out. Let's bring on some controlling players. He brought on Gabriel first and then the 3. But again, Jorginho, vocal leader, came on, great passes. When I saw that 2-minute pattern of play where we just kept possession in the 80th minute,
so important.
Summarized exactly what we need from him and why he's so important to the squad.
Perfect, exactly. Yeah, because young players are brilliant, but one thing young players don't have is experience. And when you got 10 men, you're away from home, under the lights, evening kickoff at Selhurst Park, you need a little bit of experience, a little bit of metal. And Jorginho provides that. I remember we went to St. James's Park last season and we won that game 2-0. Jorginho was fantastic in that match, controlling the players, helping them through. He's like a coach on the pitch, directing people where to go. So, I agree. I think he's got a real good ace up our sleeve with Jorginho.
Yeah, technical ability as well. Just technical ability is so key to seeing out some of these games. Pep's sides get away with it, with the technical ability, where they can just keep the ball without losing it for easy 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And that's what we're starting to add. And it's great to watch it as well.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Well, hopefully we've had a 2-1 victory against Forest and a 1-0 victory against Palace. Hopefully after Fulham, it won't be as nervy.
Yeah, I hope so. I think we'll see. Maybe I'm predicting Trossard to even start over Martinelli, but that's
maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think
Trossard does need more minutes for a fact. Yeah,
but
100%. But the next match tactical analysis will be after the Fulham game on Saturday. As always, make sure you check out Rami, the Stats Optic. All his links will be in the description. His Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you check them out for game-by-game analysis throughout matches, especially on Twitter as well. It's a really good I'm of course followed, and I see his comments throughout the game on the threads, and they're really interesting. Just gives me a different analytical approach to the football match. And also check out the PR podcast if you'd like to hear more about me, Rami, and also our other friend, where we discuss all types of football related matches. And of course, we'll be uploading more content as we head into the new season as well. But I appreciate everyone that's tuned into this video today. Make sure you drop your thoughts in the comment section regarding the match, and make sure you subscribe. I rose 5,000 subscribers. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys all for tuning in, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Take care.